All right, this video pertains to a case study that is used in my ethics classes, exploring ethics. And I would call it the laundromat case study. So essentially what happens is when I was in graduate school at Villanova, was living down in the city, and like many graduate students at that time, was using laundromats. And one of my friends in the graduate program at Villanova one weekend went to the laundromat. It's kind of a lazy Saturday morning. He's doing his own thing, minding his own business, doing a little reading. And at one point in the morning, a woman comes in, and she comes in with two young kids. They're in the younger kind of range, probably 3 to 6, that type of deal. And, she's starting to do her thing. The kids are a little rambunctious. Nothing major, nothing out of the ordinary in terms of being destructive, but, making some noise, fooling around a little bit. And she's getting visibly frustrated. She's getting angry. And eventually she just snaps, and she turns to the youngest of the two kids and says, "Shut the F up, you little S." And you can fill in the blanks in terms of those curses. And so, that was a very kind of dramatic moment. And my buddy didn't do anything. He sat there, was observing. But somebody else in the laundromat eventually kind of got up and went over to the woman and essentially said, "Excuse me, ma'am, I don't think you should be speaking to your kids in that manner." And she responded by saying, "Look, how I raise my kids is my own business." And that's the response that I think probably most of us would have expected. And so I tell this story because we look at it in the context of moral relativism, absolutism, universalism. So the question here, one, is she morally wrong? If so, in what way is she morally wrong? Should we assign moral wrongness to her character, just the action, just this kind of words that she said? What should we make of the bystanders and the person that went up to this woman? Did the person that went up to this woman do the right thing? Was he protecting the child? Or was he making the situation worse? The bystanders, should they have said anything? And if they didn't, why not? Is there any moral justification for that? And if they did not, is it also perhaps a product of cowardice? Are most of us, do we lack the courage to kind of address a situation such as this? We also have questions about abuse. Should this be considered a form of verbal or mental or emotional abuse? And if so, why? Should it be treated the same as a physical abuse? If she was beating her kid with a baseball bat, would that demand a different response? And if so, why? So all of these questions are things that we discuss in class or on discussion boards if this is an online class, and make this story really interesting to reflect upon. So again, the big question is, how should we think of her actions? Did she do something wrong? Did she fail in her maternal duties? Or was this acceptable? Should it be allowed? And what does it say about the more general dimension of morality? Is morality something that's just opinion? Or did she violate some form of moral universalism where there are basic principles, rules, values, behaviors that everyone should follow, even if in fact they don't always follow that? Should she be judged according to moral absolutism, where there's a very strict, rigid set of standards? So all of those questions are worth considering in relationship to this particular case study.